Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. And for the Grue Rume Show today, I got two very cool guests, and they are the writers and directors of a new queer horror film that's coming out, and it's called Summoning Sylvia. And I'm really looking forward to talking to them about the film. And I heard that these two guys are big fans of horror movies, just as I am, as you all know. So I'm really looking forward to talking to them both about the film and about their passion and love for horror films. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters, as you could tell already, and I am the host of the Grue Rume. And stay tuned because my interview is coming up soon. This is my Grue Rume, and as always, welcome to my nightmare. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Grue, and I appreciate you both taking time out of your night and coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Definitely. So like the first thing I wanted to ask of course, is you guys have a new queer horror film that's coming out. So can you tell us a little bit about the film?
Yeah. So Summoning Sylvia is our film that is opening in select theaters on March 31st, and it'll be streaming everywhere on demand on April 7th. So you can see it on April 7th if you can't find a theater before then. So it is the story of a gay bachelor party that performs a seance. It's kind of the collision of horror and comedy. It's the collision of hauntings and homophobia. It's a lot of things mashed into one, and it's all about friendship, and it's suspenseful, and it's very funny and a wild ride.
Definitely.
That was really well done, Alex.
Okay, thank you.
Seriously. Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, it's a gay bachelor party gone wrong.
Yeah,
and everything he said.
and everything he said. So, I mean, since the movie deals a lot with like spirit world, have you guys ever used like a spirit board or had any paranormal experiences?
Alex, have you?
Okay, well, let's see. I love a tarot reading. I love a tarot reading because to me it just feels like more information. And another way with which we have an opportunity to look at the world. So I wouldn't say that I am a practicing Wiccan, though I have great respect for those who are. And I don't know that I've ever been personally victimized by a ghost, but I feel like I have in my life looked for ways to feel connected to things that I can't quite explain.
Oh, okay.
What about you, Wes?
Well, there's a lot of superstition in the theater, and there's the ghost light, and Alex and I come from the theater. We were raised in the theater, so I've worked in many a theater that felt haunted, and of course the tales of who had. Like I worked at the Oriental Theater in Chicago for the out-of-town tryout of The Addams Family, which is something I did on Broadway, but we did it in 3 months. We did it for 3 months in Chicago. And in that theater, a long time ago, it burnt down and killed hundreds of people inside.
Oh, wow.
And so there was, of course, the legend of all of those ghosts haunting the Oriental Theater each night. So I enjoy sort of speculating on who's watching, and lurking.
Definitely. Well, I believe in all that, the spirit world and all that. I during Halloween season, I work for one of the scary houses, the Eastern State Penitentiary. It's supposedly has ghosts in it because it was a prison and people died in there, and now it got shut down, turned into like a scary house, and every time I work there I always like see stuff that I can't explain, like hot summer nights and jail jail cell doors just slamming shut like a wind blew it shut. And yeah, it's like crazy.
That
Yeah.
is crazy. I mean, and it feels like the kind of thing that, it's no wonder that people make movies about these kinds of
Of
things because,
course.
there's so many stories within the unexplained.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think what we tried to do then with Sylvia is we tried to take these dynamics between friends, between that they can't quite explain, that they can't quite navigate, and use that and parallel it with them being in this environment full of things that they can't quite explain. So it's, we tried to bring art, life into art in that way.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And during like Halloween season, do you guys ever go to any like scary houses, haunted houses?
I used to, and I grew up in Orlando, Florida, so they had
Oh, Halloween Horror Nights.
Halloween Horror Nights,
Yeah.
exactly. And I would love going to Halloween Horror Nights. Those were I have very fond memories of that. Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, one year uh I got to be someone who was like bloodied up and I was like underneath a car and I totally did that one night.
Oh, that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, good times.
Yeah, and conversely, during Halloween, I like to stay inside and away from people and safe. But I think maybe the combination of Wes's adventure versus my quest for safety is those two things coming together. Maybe that's what
Works.
makes a movie. That's what makes a partnership too, a creative partnership, which we've been very lucky to have. And we've gotten to make our we made a web series together called Indoor Boys. That's kind of how
Yes.
we got started together. And then this project, Summoning Sylvia, which is available on demand on April 7th, is is our
That's
second
great. I
project.
love that.
Thanks. Listen, RuPaul taught me well. I watched a lot of RuPaul, and RuPaul told me you got to keep plugging the product. So but this is now our second thing that we've gotten to bring out into the world, so it's a pretty exciting time for Wes and me to make it happen.
Definitely.
Our baby is going to see the light of day.
There you go. Yes. And what inspired you both to co-write and make the film?
Well, like Alex said, we were working on a web series for a few years called Indoor Boys that
Mhm.
opened some doors for us and was a really exciting thing for us finding our voice together as writers. And but also we wanted to graduate into a sort of longer format. And something that was a big silver lining of the pandemic was finally our acting careers were just sort of naturally put on the back burner, and we were able to focus and get on Zoom every day and share a screen and write for 5 hours. And so we churned out several projects during that time, during that year and a half. And Summoning Sylvia just happens to be the first one that got funded, and we were sort of quickly getting off to the races and making it. But there are several other projects waiting in the wings to be produced soon.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
nice.
one of the places that Sylvia came from is when we were stuck in our apartments. Wes and I started getting really into horror movies,
Yeah,
and especially
I
horror
love it.
comedy movies. And we just totally fell in love with this genre and fell in love with the outsider nature of it. And we love how horror and comedy, I mean, we feel like we really come from a world of comedy first.
Mhm.
But horror felt like, oh, this is such a great companion piece to what we're already doing. This is just helping to accentuate. It's all about timing. It's all about setting up expectations. It's all about,
Surprise. And comedy is about surprise.
Exactly.
Successful comedy and successful suspense is about surprise.
totally.
And also we feel like the genre lends itself to queer content as well.
Yes, definitely.
And so we really wanted to focus on the assumptions we make about each other and kind of leave with a message. I
Right.
think the movie is responsible and super fun and super fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's so full of jokes and it's full of fun, and it's hopefully groups of friends
Yeah.
gay and straight and everything in between can watch this for years to come, we hope.
Yeah. So like you both said that you love watching horror films. Is the funny horror films more of the horror that you guys like? Because in the horror world, there's so many different kind of horror movies, like from slashers
Yeah.
to everything.
I think a movie that really, really blew us away and inspired us in terms of the double genre of it all and social commentary was Get Out. And the fact
I love that movie.
that Get Out was able to really keep you in suspense the entire time, but also really make you laugh and also have something to say, in such a big way. I think that was a huge, like, what's our gay version of Get Out? What is that
Right.
like? Would be my answer.
That's a great answer.
I like that. Yeah. And Frankie is one of the main stars for the film, and you guys worked with him for your series.
Yeah.
And was Frankie someone that you definitely had in mind that you wanted to be in this film?
Yeah, big time. I mean, Frankie, so as you said, he was in Indoor Boys also, and we really loved working with Frankie. And also I think people in the world, they know Frankie as being a big personality, and Frankie's a great host, and Frankie walks in a room and throws glitter and can be the life of the party. And like, that's Frankie's power. I think what people don't know as well is what a skilled and subtle actor Frankie can be, and how smart on screen and with his choices Frankie can be. And so we were very excited by the idea of Frankie bringing his power to this project, and us being able to give a platform to Frankie to show the world something a little different than what they expect of him.
When we asked Frankie to do Indoor Boys the first season, we didn't know what we were going to get. I mean, we wrote this sort of big, bold, bright character, and I knew Frankie socially, but not very much, and we sort of took a risk. And not only was he so perfect in the role, but he brought this humility and collaboration and generosity on set that we did not expect, considering who he was, or sort of this persona that he was online. And
Frankie's
so
an incredible person. Frankie is one of the best people you can have on your set. He's
that's great.
So much joy. He's such a
positive energy. It's infectious. And after 3 seasons of just falling in love with him as a collaborator, we decided to write this role for him. So it's very much for him that we wrote it.
Oh wow, nice. And you also have a bunch of other great actors on the film. How did you wind up like finding them, picking them? Like what drew you to these guys?
Well, it was a combination. We held auditions, and there were a few people that we found whom we didn't know before, and so there were new faces to us, new collaborators, and there few of them were people with whom we'd worked with before.
Oh, okay.
And so I think it was probably half and half. For instance, Nicholas Logan, who is so amazing in the movie. That's an actor who went to school with Wes.
Oh,
yeah. And Sean Grandillo is in the movie, and he and I did Spring Awakening together on Broadway. So
Vianne Cox, who is our titular character, she's Sylvia. Vianne got an Emmy nomination for her work in our digital series Indoor Boys. So
nice.
Yeah, so we have collaborated with probably half the cast before we worked with them on this movie.
Yeah, but then there were some new amazing people like Noah Ricketts and Troy Awada and Camden Garcia and other folks. I mean, not to like out who auditioned and who was offered, that's not what I mean to do, but just it was very exciting to us to find these people whom we didn't know before, and now we're just so thankful to have them as part of this little creative family.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And where did you guys film at? Because everything looks very, very creepy, like the area, the house and everything. And
yeah, it's actually a house in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I
And
actually live in Philly, so I'm not far from there.
Oh yeah, you're not far at all. Yeah. There was a really cool historic district in Newark. And so we went there, and it was, let me tell you, it was very hard. It was a very hard shoot because it was 100 degrees, and on a film like this, you can't have the air conditioning on because you can't mess up the sound. And I mean, our cast was melting, and they were all, and our crew, and they were all such troopers, and filmed in some not easy conditions, but we're still able to pull out some pretty spectacular work.
we shot the whole thing in what, 21 days?
Oh wow, really?
Less. I think we shot it in 19. It was 19
days.
Wow.
So it was kind of an insane workload.
Yeah, definitely.
for 3 weeks. But somehow we all survived and lived to talk about it. I mean, here we are about to let it go in the world.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I know the film isn't out yet, but like, I mean, it's coming out in a few days, but is there any scene that you guys had the most fun shooting?
Oh God.
Oh gosh, there's so many. You know what I really loved? So Travis Coles, who deserves a special mention because he plays Larry, and he is the lead of the film. And I think Travis's many breakdowns as his character's breakdowns as he goes through the film, and his I'd say the big showdown at the center of our movie is probably my favorite scene. I don't want to give too much away, but it's kind of when everything comes to a head, and there's this real, I don't know, Wes, say words.
I mean, I would say the thing that was the most fun to watch as it was happening, and sort of is something that happens at the end, and I don't want to spoil that. So you're just gonna have to go see the movie and see it for yourself. But the end is something that was a joy to shoot, I think, for everyone involved. And it was a nice release for us sort of halfway through the production, because we shot it halfway through at the midpoint. And we had been working so hard and so sleep deprived, and it was just sort of a joyous evening, that shoot. So anyway, I can't give it away.
Well, yeah, of course not. And I always like to ask the guests this when they're on, especially you had a very great cast that you were working with for the film. Was there any funny or cool behind the scenes stories that happened while you guys were all filming?
Oh my gosh, it's tough because we were on such a tight schedule. It was like, go.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like filming
there was this, like, okay, so there were some things left in the house when we took over this location, right? Some things that were really appropriately creepy, There was this one doll.
The doll.
That's kind of like, I guess you could compare it to Megan. But it was a period Megan, like old-fashioned Megan. And our DP and like lead electrician thought it was hilarious to just keep like hiding this doll around sets and like taking pictures from like afar, as if the doll like kept moving around the set.
Right. So you'd walk up the staircase, and then boom, the doll would be right there. And it'd be a new jump scare for us every day.
I think they called her like Molly or something.
Yeah, I think
like
you're right.
Before Megan. Yeah, anyway. That was, I just remember that.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Nice. And with queer horror films, like I've noticed a lot of horror films are coming out now, and a lot of the queer horror films that the characters are mostly like oversexed and there's like a lot of gore, but you guys kept your horror film not along those lines. So
yeah, did
you want to do something different?
Thanks for mentioning that. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how the gay community in particular reacts to the film, because a lot of gay horror that we have seen has been really, I don't want to say thirsty, fleshy, shower scenes and the slitting of throats and all that sex, and that's really not our movie. I mean,
I think Wes and I also, we're thinking about what is our experience as gay people. and a lot of times we don't see that in gay media, and I have such great reverence for so much of what gay creators are making these days.
Yeah.
But like there are also, you know, gay dorks, and and so what happens when they get to be in a movie?
Yeah.
Things like that, you know, things that are
Yeah, I mean, there's
intellectual, and you know,
I would love just more in the canon that goes beyond hard bodies, you know.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and I think that we're ready as a community to graduate to more, you know, more stuff beyond that.
yeah, like, and listen, our cast, they're all very good looking, cute, you know, they all have beautiful faces, and I love them all, but they also aren't like supermodels, and that was important to us. They're real people.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
we wanted them to look like a real group of friends, and like we wanted them to be people that we'd be friends with.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, like not every group of friends look like fashion models, you know.
Right.
Despite our best efforts.
Most don't.
Yeah. Dare we
You know?
say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So what kind of songs do you guys like? Like what's on your playlist?
Oh, Alex.
Okay. Well, I like mostly listen to musicals. Um, you know, I'm walking down the street, I'm in a really serious mood, but I'm jamming out to Legally Blonde. You know, how we're walking down the street, you know, with a furious look on my face, but it's like, you know, whipped into shape, you know. So like that's usually what is happening. Or it's like, or even worse, it's a ballad, but I'm like, you know, so that is generally how I live my life. Wes, Justin Bieber, am I right?
Don't know how to follow that. I do. I tend to gravitate towards pop music, but I have to be honest. I am like a huge consumer of TV and movies, and so is Alex. And like whenever I'm on the train, I'm reading a book. Like I read a lot, so I always feel uncultured, unsophisticated when I get asked this question of what's on my playlist, because it's like pop. It's like top 40, because I'm not really driven in the same way as I am by like watching a prestige drama. That I'm a little insane like that. When I get home, I don't turn on the music. I like turn on HBO. So
Okay, there you go.
I have another answer to this one that also relates back to our movie. Something that Wes and I both love is classical music, and like our web series Indoor Boys was solely classical music that we scored it with, and that same feeling and that love of like sweeping orchestral led us to our composer for the film, Max Mueller, who wrote this John Williams sweeping, glorious, like 25-piece orchestra score. But it gives it this kind of this sort of old Hollywood feel, and really helps us and also helps punctuate moments so beautifully. But it takes these, I think what a lot of the conceit of the film is, these characters who are these unlikely characters to be plopped into the scenario, and the music helps throw them into that world. So I think that's one of the fun parts.
good segue, and shout out to our brilliant composer Max Mueller.
Yeah, brilliant.
Nice, there you go. And if you guys had to choose a karaoke song, what would be your go-to song?
You know, I stick with anything by Elton John or Billy Joel. That sits really nice in my voice. It's kind of a safe pocket for me.
Okay, that's a good choice.
Okay, see, I have one very clear answer, and it's the song "This Is the Night" by Clay Aiken, which he sang when he was in the top 2 on American Idol. It's and I sang it in my 11th grade, concert. And I used to flat iron my hair because Clay Aiken would flat iron his hair.
Okay.
Wes,
sometimes I don't know how we're friends. You know, like, I don't know how we got together. It's wild.
I don't know. It is wild because like I'm so cool. But anyway, every time I'm at karaoke, I try to go toward This Is the Night, if everyone will,
Okay.
you know, if everyone will brace themselves appropriately.
And what was the last song that you heard that got stuck in your head that you sing all day while you're working?
Um, uh, well, I just saw Sweeney Todd on Broadway.
Oh,
and
yes.
it is a glorious production. And I mean, what a score that is. So probably These Are My Friends has been floating around in my brain since I left that masterpiece. I want to go back and see it. So good.
Nice. Isn't what's his name in that? Gayton from
Yes, and he's
Stranger Things? Yeah.
incredible in the show. He's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
speaking of
okay.
horror, Sweeney Todd is like the ultimate horror musical. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
And
I would throw in there, I listen to, there's a band I really love called Lawrence.
Okay.
They have that great song, when I tell myself when I sleep at night, don't lose sight. That's what it is. Don't lose sight, baby. Don't lose sight. Anyway, they're the greatest and I love them. And I'm off book for their catalog. Yeah.
Okay, you go.
Yeah.
And when the film comes out, where could fans watch the film, download the film, buy it on DVD, all that fun stuff?
Yeah. It is going to be in select theaters, about 20 theaters across the US, including Lamley, Glendale in LA, and Regal Union Square in New York. But the list of theaters you can find at our Instagram, which is I think it's at Summoning Sylvia, right? That's it.
Yeah.
It's at Summoning Sylvia. And then on April 7th, it'll be streaming on like 20 different services. I know it's going to be on Vudu, it'll be on Prime, it'll be on, I think, Redbox. I mean, there'll just be many services. So if you just do a search for Summoning Sylvia on your television, it will come up somewhere and you can, rent it for $3 or whatever it is.
wherever you go to rent your media is where you will rent it. It will be easily rentable.
Yeah.
Okay. And last question is, where could fans follow you guys at?
Well, Wes and I are both just on Instagram, and Wes, your handle is Sir
Wes Tay. I demand respect.
and you will be given that respect. And mine is at Alex J. Wyse. That's mine.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking time out. It was really good meeting you both, and the movie was great. I saw like a little screener of it, and yeah, like I love the film, and I can't wait for the fans to go and see it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was really good talking to you, and really appreciate you having us here.
Definitely. It was so much fun. I loved it. If you guys ever want to come back with, you say you got like a lot of films that you're working on. If you ever want to come back and talk about it, you're more than welcome.
We will take you up on that. We'll see you in 3 years.
Have a great night and great weekend, guys.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Take care.
Bye.